Welcome back, deep divers. Today we're diving into something a lot of you have been asking about, the frequency disk.
Ah, yes. These things are really making a splash, it seems.
We've got a ton of material you guys sent over, and, well, let's just say it's really piqued our curiosity. Two types of disks we're looking at, right?
Yeah, an 8-inch black granite one, and then there's a smaller one, 3.5-inch hexagonal, made of black marble.
Black marble, huh? Sounds fancy. But fancy aside, these disks are generating a lot of buzz. People are saying all sorts of things about their potential benefits.
Right, it's quite a range, actually.
So let's get to the heart of it. What's the science behind these frequency disks? What's all the fuss about?
Okay, so the core idea is that everything vibrates, right? Like at a frequency level, including us.
Our bodies, they're vibing all the time.
Exactly. And these frequencies, well, they can change depending on how healthy we are.
Interesting. So where does the frequency disk come in?
Well, it's designed to kind of like nudge our bodies back to their optimal frequencies.
Like a reset button for our vibrations.
Yeah, something like that. They call these optimal frequencies the human blueprint frequencies, kind of a baseline for a healthy body.
I'm picturing like a tuning fork. You hit it, it vibrates at a certain frequency, and then if you bring another tuning fork with the same frequency close by, it starts to vibrate too, even though you didn't actually touch it.
That's a great analogy. Resonance in action, and that's sort of what the frequency disk is doing, acting like that first tuning fork, emitting those human blueprint frequencies, and our bodies pick up on those vibrations and start resonating with them.
So it's like our bodies are getting tuned up by these disks. I'm starting to see how this could lead to some pretty interesting effects.
Right, and it's not a totally new idea when you think about it. I mean, Einstein talked about the field being the governing agency of the particle, and Tesla was convinced that the future of medicine would be all about frequencies. So this whole concept of energy and vibration being fundamental to our well-being isn't really that far out there.
It's definitely got me thinking, but you know what's really grabbing my attention? The testimonials from people who are actually using these discs.
Oh yeah, the testimonials are fascinating. People are reporting benefits across the board, from neutralizing toxins and reducing pain to improving their sleep and even making their food more nutritious.
It's a pretty wide range of claims. Let's break some of these down, starting with one that really caught my eye.
Sure. Which one are you thinking of?
Well, a lot of people are saying that the frequency disc helps protect their food from, well, going bad so quickly. Like it somehow counteracts the harmful frequencies that lead to decay.
They actually did a little experiment with this. They put 2 bunches of bananas on a shelf. One bunch was just sitting on the metal, and the other was sitting on a frequency disc.
And what happened to the bananas?
After 8 days, the bananas on the metal were, typical banana stuff, brown spots, bruised, looking pretty sad. But the bananas on the frequency disc, they were almost like they were fresh.
No way. That's wild. I mean, what does the disc somehow slow down the ripening process? Or create some kind of protective shield around the food?
That's the big question. But it does make you wonder, doesn't it?
It does. And it sounds like the food thing is just the tip of the iceberg. People are using these discs for everything. They're putting them under their mattresses, using them for pain release, even sticking them in their fridges.
Yeah, it's like people are finding all these creative ways to work them into their lives.
Speaking of creative, you mentioned a researcher, Dr. Beverly Kuhn, who's been studying the effects of the frequency disc on water. And apparently she's pretty fascinated by water itself.
Oh yeah, she's a big believer in the idea that water isn't just H2O. It's super sensitive to energy and information. Like it can actually record and transmit those subtle influences.
So what happens when you throw a frequency disc into the mix? What did Dr. Kuhn's research show?
She used this cool technology called GDV, gas discharge visualization, to analyze the water's energy field.
So like taking a picture of the water's aura.
Basically. And the results were pretty amazing. The water that had been exposed to the frequency disk had this much larger, more coherent energy field compared to regular water. Dr. Kuhn called it increased life force.
Whoa, hold on. So this little disc can actually change the energy of water. That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is, and get this, she also found that this energized water could actually transmit that enhanced energy to the stuff around it. Like it was radiating those beneficial frequencies outwards.
Whoa, that's even wilder. Okay, so to really test things out, Dr. Kuhn decided to, well, drink the water herself and then measure her own energy field. I'm assuming she didn't suddenly develop superpowers, right?
Haha, not quite. But she did find that her own energy field got a boost after drinking the water. Like the water acted as a bridge, transferring those frequencies to her directly.
Okay, so we've got this intriguing science suggesting that these discs can actually change water's energy. But what about the real-world stuff? Let's dive into those testimonials and hear what people are saying about their own experiences using the frequency discs. Hit me with some stories.
All right, let's start with Debbie from Hawaii. She loves using the disc in her fridge. Says her food stays fresh way longer. She even takes it with her when she travels, claims it helps her avoid jet lag.
Okay, that's a bold claim. I've tried everything for jet lag and nothing's ever completely worked. But hey, maybe Debbie's onto something. What other stories are people sharing?
Someone said they put avocados on the disc to ripen, and they swear the flavor's way better.
Interesting. I love avocado, so I might have to try that myself. Anything about other food?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Someone else mentioned their organic spring mix lasted like 3 weeks in the fridge, no wilting, no slime, nothing.
That's impressive. I hate it when my greens go bad before I can even use them. But what about the pain relief claims? Are people actually seeing results with that?
Definitely. We've got people talking about using the disc for arthritis pain, and one person even said it helped with their back pain when they put it under their mattress.
Wow, so people are finding relief from all sorts of things. Anything else jump out at you?
There's a really cool story from someone who used the disc when they felt a chest cold coming on. They said they could feel the frequencies working in their lungs, like this clearing and opening sensation.
Amazing. It really seems like people are tuning into their bodies and finding ways to use these discs to support their well-being. What else have you got?
This one's a bit strange, but a lot of people are saying that the disc actually sticks to their bodies.
Wait, seriously, like a magnet or something?
Apparently, they say it sticks to the spot where they're having discomfort, and then it releases once the energy is balanced.
Whoa, that's both fascinating and a little freaky. I'm starting to get why people are so drawn to these frequency discs. It's this blend of science and mystery with personal experiences that are really compelling.
It definitely challenges our assumptions about what's possible, right?
It totally does.
It really is amazing to see how people are kind of taking these frequency discs and running with them, finding all sorts of ways to use them.
Yeah, it really shows you how much interest there is in alternative health and wellness these days.
Absolutely. People want to be more in control of their own well-being, and they're looking for tools to help them do that.
And what's cool about the frequency disc is that it seems to be bridging that gap between science and personal experience.
Totally. We've got Dr. Kuhn's research, which hints at the potential of these frequency-based therapies, and then we've got these incredible stories from people who are seeing real results in their own lives.
It's a pretty powerful combination.
And, there are so many other fascinating stories we haven't even gotten to yet.
Oh, like what? Give me some more.
Okay, so there's this one about someone who had some kind of misalignment in their neck and decided to try sleeping with the frequency disc under their pillow.
So did they wake up feeling like they'd had a visit to the chiropractor?
Well, they said their neck felt way better the next morning, and they even think it might be helping to prevent the headaches they used to get all the time.
Interesting. Makes you wonder about the potential of these frequencies to, boost the body's natural healing ability.
Right, and the versatility of these discs is just incredible. People are using them for everything.
Give me an example. What else are they doing with these things?
Okay, so one person used the frequency disc along with something called the intention disc.
An intention disc. Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What's that all about?
It's another product from the same company, and it's supposed to work, together with the frequency disc. This person put the intention disc on their hip and the frequency disc under their shoulder, and they felt like the two discs were working together to clear some kind of blocked energy and just infuse their body with positive energy.
Wow, sounds powerful. But let's stick with the frequency disc stories for now. What other experiences have people shared?
There's this one from someone who used to wake up with a sore back every morning, no matter what kind of mattress they had, hard, soft, it didn't matter. Then they started putting the frequency disc under their mattress, and they haven't had back pain since.
Oh man, I can relate to that. I've had my fair share of back pain, and I'm always up for trying anything that might help me sleep better. Maybe I need to get myself one of these discs.
You should. And speaking of aches and pains, this person also found relief by placing the frequency disc behind their back while driving. Especially helpful for long car rides that leave you feeling all stiff.
That's a great idea. I always feel a bit sore after a long road trip. I'm really starting to see why people are so into these discs. They seem to have endless uses.
Exactly. And it's not even just about physical stuff. Some people are even using the discs to enhance the energy of their homes and workspaces.
Really? How are they doing that?
Well, someone said they put the frequency disc under their fruit bowl, and now their fruit lasts 2 to 3 times longer.
No way. Seriously. I'm always throwing out fruit that's gone bad. Maybe this is the answer to my food waste problem.
It's worth a shot. And if you're worried about, EMFs and stuff like that, those potentially harmful frequencies, putting a frequency disc in your fridge might be a good idea.
That's a good point. We're surrounded by so much technology these days, it's hard to know what it's doing to us. Makes sense that people are looking for ways to counteract those effects.
Absolutely. And that's why I find these testimonials so fascinating. It's like a window into how people are using these products and experiencing the benefits firsthand.
It's like a grassroots movement of people exploring these alternative approaches to well-being and sharing what they're learning with each other.
And the more we hear these stories, the more we're encouraged to kind of question our assumptions, and open ourselves up to new possibilities.
Totally. What if there's more to this world than we realize? What if there are these energies and frequencies that we're only just starting to understand?
It's a pretty amazing thought, isn't it? And it makes you wonder, If something as simple as a frequency disk can have such a big impact, what else might be possible?
That's a great question to ponder. It seems like we're just scratching the surface of what we know about energy and how it affects us.
And that's what makes this whole thing so exciting. It's a reminder that there's always more to learn and discover.
Okay, so we've heard about using the frequency disk for pain relief, for better sleep, for keeping food fresh, and even for balancing energy. What else are people using it for?
There's one more testimonial that really stuck with me.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me about it.
So this one is from someone who used to smoke and had a history of bronchitis. They were starting to feel a chest cold coming on, and they decided to try using the frequency disk.
What did they do? Just hold it on their chest?
Actually, they lay down and moved the disc around on their chest to see if it would stick anywhere.
Wait, are we talking about the sticking thing again?
Yep, and apparently it stuck right to their skin, right in the spot where they were feeling discomfort in their lungs.
No way. And then what?
They said they could feel the frequencies working in their lungs, like something was opening up and moving around. They even started coughing up some old junk, as they put it, that had been stuck in there.
Wow, that's pretty intense. Sounds like the frequency disk helped them clear out some serious congestion.
That's what they believe. And after about an hour, the disc just released from their skin. They said their lungs felt incredibly clear and open for the next few days.
That's amazing. It's incredible how people are finding these intuitive ways to use these discs.
It really speaks to the body's own wisdom and its ability to heal itself when we give it the right support.
You know, after hearing all these stories, I think we need to get our hands on some frequency discs and see what happens.
I'm totally game if you are. It would be so cool to experience it firsthand.
Let's do it. I'm feeling a deep dive experiment coming on. So we've heard all these amazing stories about the frequency disc.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing stuff.
But the big question everyone's probably asked me is like, how does it actually work?
Right, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
I mean, we talked about vibration, resonance, Dr. Kuhn's water research.
Yeah, we've got some pieces of the puzzle.
But the exact mechanism, like how these discs actually do what they do, it's still a bit of a mystery.
It is, yeah. There's definitely more to uncover.
But hey, that doesn't mean we can't explore some possibilities, right?
Totally. Let's speculate a little.
Okay, so where do we start? What are some possible explanations for how these things work?
Well, one theory is that the frequency disk might be influencing the structure of water.
Water. Okay, how so?
Well, you know how water molecules are super sensitive to like electromagnetic fields?
Yeah.
So the thinking is that the arrangement of those molecules can actually change based on the energy they're exposed to.
So you're saying these discs could be emitting some kind of frequency that actually restructures the water in our bodies, or even in the objects we put on the discs?
Exactly. And remember Dr. Kuhn's research?
Yeah, the water that was exposed to the disc had a more, a more coherent energy field.
Right, and she called it increased life force.
So maybe that restructuring of the water, like at a molecular level, could trigger a whole bunch of effects in the body.
It's possible it could explain some of those benefits people are reporting.
That's a pretty compelling theory. What else is out there? What other possibilities are people talking about?
Okay, so another theory revolves around bioresonance.
Bioresonance, what's that?
It's this idea that our bodies have their own unique, like, electromagnetic frequencies.
Okay, so we're all vibing at our own special frequency.
Exactly. And those frequencies can be influenced by, outside sources, like the frequency disk.
So the disc could be emitting frequencies that resonate with, say, certain organs or systems in the body.
Yeah, and that helps bring them back into balance, kind of like a tuning fork.
Right, like the analogy we talked about earlier. I've heard of bioresonance therapy, but it seems like it's still kind of controversial.
It is, yeah, but there's actually some research out there suggesting that electromagnetic frequencies can actually influence biological processes.
So it's not completely out there then?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay, so we got water structuring and bioresonance. What else should we consider? Are there any other theories floating around?
Well, there's also this concept of scalar energy.
Scalar energy. Okay, now that's a new one for me.
Yeah, it's a bit of a fringe idea, but essentially scalar energy is thought to be this, like, non-Hertzian form of energy.
Non-Hertzian. So it's not like the regular electromagnetic waves we usually talk about.
Exactly. It behaves differently.
And some people believe this scalar energy has, like, healing properties.
Right. They think it can affect the body at a very deep level.
Okay, that's super interesting. Is there any science backing up this scalar energy stuff?
That's where things get a bit tricky. Mainstream science hasn't really embraced the concept of scalar energy yet.
So the research is pretty limited?
Yeah, for now it's mostly theoretical.
But still, it's a fascinating possibility, right?
Absolutely. It's definitely something to keep in mind as we try to figure out how the frequency disk works.
Okay, so we've got three main theories: water structuring, bioresonance, and scalar energy. Sounds like each one has its pros and cons.
Definitely. And it might not be just one thing, maybe it's a combination of all these factors.
It could be. And honestly, we may never have a definitive answer.
True. But the fact that we're even exploring these possibilities, that's what's exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's all about staying curious and asking questions.
And sometimes the most interesting things are the mysteries we haven't solved yet.
Well said. So for our listeners out there, what should they take away from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that there's so much we still don't know about these subtle energies and how they affect us.
Yeah, we're constantly learning new things, and what seems like fringe science today could be totally normal tomorrow.
Exactly. So approach all this with an open mind.
Don't be afraid to ask questions, explore different perspectives, and ultimately come to your own conclusions.
And hey, if you're curious about the frequency disk, maybe try one out and see what you think.
Exactly. Just remember, everyone's experience is going to be different. What works for one person might not work for another.
And if you have any health concerns, it's always best to talk to your doctor.
Of course. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the science to the testimonials to the potential explanations for how this thing actually works.
It's been quite a journey. Hopefully, we've sparked some curiosity and encouraged our listeners to keep exploring this fascinating topic.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and keep those minds open.